Oh God. Wahala, no dey finish. Chai. Yeah, guys, we spent the whole of last week. Was it just last week? I think last week and the previous week, defending Faith's honor. Yes, defending his right to express himself in Big Brother's house. We spent, I think, the past 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, we spent the past 2 weeks, preaching about fairness, balance, and, viewers just allowing these housemates to express themselves, right? And then, just when we thought that we were going to catch a break, Faith got into a post-nomination drama with none other than Thelma again last night. And ladies and gentlemen, if there's one person you don't want to have issues with in that house, it's these two people, Faith and Thelma. Yes, you don't want to have issues with them because they both know how to drag issues. Yeah, for Faith, it's all about him protecting himself, defending himself, standing on his right. For Thelma, it's all about antagonizing. And as I said, Thelma never ever has any reason to antagonize or fight with anybody in the house, but she purely enjoys inheriting beefs, inheriting enemies. And the moment I saw she and Faith having the back and forth last night, guys, I said, okay, we are in for it this week. And it also does not help matters that they are both in the same team for the wager task. It's gonna be a long week. It's gonna be a long week. But regardless of all of this, ladies and gentlemen, we need to call a spade, all right? Both parties had a role to play in this, and we're going to dissect that whole situation. We're going to dissect it, and we're going to speak on the rights of these two individuals. Now, this is not a video to defend one against the other or vice versa. No, this is a video to actually really explain the context of the situation and give clarity, because I saw reactions from viewers on social media last night whilst the whole thing was happening. I could not give my own reaction on social media at that point in time because I was working on my nominations video, yeah, but I had to replay the whole scene, watch everything again in details, and I realized that, okay, there was just basically a lot of misnomers going on in that situation. And so on this video, you're about to get clarity, all right? So make sure you watch this video to the end. Don't skip out on any part, all right? And of course, I would love to hear your point of view on this matter in the comment section. So please go ahead and engage, all right? And before we get into it, hi, you're all specially welcome to my channel. My name is Bbnaija. This is Frankly Speaking with Bbnaija, and I am the girl with the T. Yeah. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, now, in case you're wondering what exactly triggered that whole back and forth between Faith and Thelma, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be frank with all of you. We did not catch the beginning of their altercation. We did not catch it. But what we saw was that Faith's ranting started immediately after, okay, I think towards the end of the live nomination process, yes. Remember, before the head of house, Ruboy, had picked the trinket that's nullified the whole nominations process, Big Brother had already mentioned the names of housemates that were nominated for possible eviction this week. And it turned out that Faith was the only male housemate standing. Yeah, he was the only male housemate standing. And that had completely shocked him. That shocked him. And I think the realization dawned on him that, okay, hold on a second. Yes, you've had a lot of fights, a lot of altercations here and there with people in the house, but your ass is still going to get fried because the game has really begun, in terms of housemates nominating people that they want to eliminate from the game, So he started talking like, oh my God, I'm the only guy. Wow, my enemies have nominated me. Wow. So I'm going to sit with my enemies and we're going to be deliberating on wager. Wow. It was just saying all of these things. And quite frankly, what he was feeling at that point in time is actually normal. Let's accept that. Yeah. We need to acknowledge the fact that the way he was feeling was normal, because he wasn't the only person that made those statements. There was also Sultana in the kitchen that was saying that, oh wow, now I know I have many enemies, you know. And it's typical of housemates, you know, for every season of Big Brother to go on this what they call it, is it on this monologue by themselves, or sometimes speaking to other housemates who cares to listen about how betrayed they feel. You know, that, oh my God, during nominations, so a lot of people nominated me and I'm standing. And, you know, it's quite hypocritical and funny to me whenever I hear housemates complain like that, because it's a nomination process. You also carry the privilege. You also went into the diary room and you also nominated people. You named names. You mentioned 2 names of people you want to eliminate. So the only difference is that you got your name mentioned multiple times, probably at least 3 times, hence the reason you're standing. So there's no difference between you and your fellow housemates that you are tagging enemies, you know. But regardless of all of those facts, Faith's feelings were valid and he had every right to express himself the way he did. And as he was talking, people were not particularly taking offense, because of course there's also that guilt of, oh, somebody that you are on good terms with, there's a likelihood that you also went into that diary room to nominate the person, right? So after the live nomination process, housemates had dispersed to their various groups. So it turned out that Faith was in the same group with Thelma. Now, as I mentioned before, we did not exactly see what triggered, like the beginning of his altercation with Thelma. No. What we were seeing was we were watching the rehearsals or the deliberation process of the other team out there in the garden. And then it was when their altercation started getting heated that the cameras took us back into the house to see what was happening. Now, at the point where the cameras took us back into the house, it was Thelma standing up out of anger and bashing Faith, like literally blasting this guy off, like, why are you complaining? Didn't you nominate people? Why are you complaining? Are we here to talk about your personal feelings, or we're here to talk about the wager? Now, Faith's argument was, well, I have a right to talk about it. You can't shut me up. I have a right to talk about it. And Thelma's own bone of contention was, why are you even talking about it? We should be talking about the wager. We should not be talking about the fact that, oh, you feel people hate you, or you have enemies. You are fake. You are a hypocrite. You also nominated people. Mide also was, you know, not really attacking Faith, but also trying to make Faith see reason as to why he should not even be complaining at all. And Faith was trying to explain to Mide that, listen, I'm not complaining. I'm just expressing myself, and I have a right to express myself. Or should I not talk about it? You know? So the thing was getting so heated, and Thelma got upset. She left. She said, well, you people know you cannot win the wager alone. You cannot win the wager without me. So I'm not going to be a part of this. Faith feels is the best at this wager thing. So you people go ahead and do whatever you want to do. So she walked away, which was the same thing she did. Was it 2-3 weeks ago? Yes, when they had the health and fitness themed week. Yes, when she and Faith had a back and forth, and she got upset, went upstairs and went to bed, you know. And guys, that whole scene was just too familiar. And she was just going on and on about how Faith is very exhausting to work with, that 3 times now she has been on the same team with this guy, and it's just been really exhausting to work with him. And trust Faith. Faith never backs down from a fight. You attack him, you come for him, he's going to go for the jugular. And that was exactly what he was doing, you know. Faith's typical manner of smiling whilst getting the heat from someone else. So he was smiling, he was telling her, listen, don't shout, stop shouting. I can't have a conversation with you if you keep on shouting. Calm down, speak to me in a level tone. And I was like, hey, you think I can talk to you? Why would I ever talk to you? What rubbish? She got upset, she left, went to the other dining table, and then she sat and started doing her nails. Now, that whole back and forth happened, and, you know, after a bit, everything simmered down. But from time to time, when any of the team members would try to summon Thelma to come back to join them, you know, in their deliberation session, Thelma would make a statement, including Faith's name, and that would trigger a response from Faith. But what I did not seem to understand, or maybe I do understand anyways, but what did not really look good, let me put it that way. What did not really look good was the fact that when Thelma says things, it's like the other team members They are sort of trying to stroke her ego, trying to beg her, trying to pacify her. But when Faith responds, because they already have this perception about him, that they don't like him, right? For whatever reason they have, everybody jumps to attack him, you know, like K-Bobo, who was right beside him. They all jump to attack him and tell him, Faith, he's okay, don't see anything. And even Ivata was taking the whole thing so personal. And I suppose she was even lying that Thelma did not call Faith's name. I'm like, is it not something we just watched? She was like, Faith, you were the first person to address her. You were the first person to talk to her. She was talking. I'm like, but she was addressing Faith. So the whole thing was just going on and on and on. But at that point in time, Faith obviously was really triggered, and it now looked like he was now continuing to drag the issue. And that was where I had a problem with Faith, because what I expected him to do at that point in time was to focus on the project at hand, continue, which they did. They actually focused, but you know, from time to time you see him, he will call on Thelma, please come and join, because the team members wanted Thelma to come and join. So for me, I expected him to just be quiet about it, let the team members do their thing. You guys focus on your project, you know. But then a serious conversation will be going on, and Faith will turn to Thelma and say, oh, Thelma, please come and join. At least it's not me that wants you to come and join, no. It's the team members that want you to come and join, no. And guys, we know what that means. That was Faith poking Thelma at that point in time. Now, as I mentioned before, I do not know what exactly triggered this exchange between these two people. So I cannot really say who is at fault or who is not at fault. But for me personally, you see that point where the team members were carrying on with their conversations, and Faith would pause and turn to Thelma, you know, and address her and tell her, oh, Thelma, come and join now. It's not me that wants you to come, oh, it's the team members. For me, that was him poking Thelma. And that was completely unacceptable, because we get it, man. You were upset. You've expressed yourself. Fine. Let it go. Focus on the work at hand. Why do you keep on referring to Thelma? And it did not end there, because I think later on they all went outside to the garden where they were making a list of all the things, all the supplies they need to execute their task. And I don't know who begged Thelma, but she finally came around. I mean, all the thing I'm saying, it wasn't like Thelma was actually innocent. She too was making her own derogatory comments, right? But I don't know who went to beg her, but she finally came outside. And Faith was the one handling the writing of the list of what they need. And she was saying Faith should give her the book. She wants to write what she needs, which for me, I felt like was completely unnecessary, because, girl, why are you trying to be the leader? Because they already said they don't have a leader of the team. But the team members were just allowing Faith, you know, to handle everything, because he's very meticulous with things like this. So Thelma coming to say, give me the book, I want to write. For me, that was very childish. But then again, Faith gave her the book, and then he said, oh, you can also have the... Oh God, this guy is petty. So, oh, you can also have the list that carries the names of all the team members. For me, I felt like that was completely unnecessary, but because Thelma was actually acting childish at that point in time, so Faith decided to match up her energy and also act like a child. So both of them were acting childish, right? And whilst that whole meeting was still happening right there in the garden, Faith too continued to poke Thelma. Oh, Thelma, is there anything else you want to add? Is there anything else you want to add? You see all those little things, all those subtle jabs, those were him poking Thelma. So, ladies and gentlemen, if I were to judge the matter, right, considering the fact that I did not see what exactly triggered this exchange between these two people, I will say that, number one, Faith has a right to express himself, despite his hypocrisy in that moment of the live nominations process. The fact that you were standing up for possible eviction, it does not take away the fact that you also endangered someone else or some other people into being in your position. The only difference is they escaped it. You did not escape it. You were standing up. So you now ranting about it, right? I mean, it's your right to rant, but that was hypocrisy on your part. And Mide was right, you know. Now, the only problem I have with Thelma is Thelma is fond of shutting people up. Thelma does not understand the concept of freedom of expression. Thelma does not understand the concept of people being equal in Big Brother's house. So there are times when she speaks to people like Faith in a very condescending and derogatory manner. Thelma, when having a back and forth with people like that, she's always very, very insulting, uses the most demeaning words, very derogatory language. She's very, very brutal and vile when it comes to those things. Now, what really triggers her the most with Faith is Faith does not match her demeaning words or language. Like, it doesn't match that energy. Instead, it's his own way of, kind of like poking her. Okay, so since you want to provoke me, I'm going to also do worse to you. So when Thelma does it, people don't really see it because she knows how to talk loud and big, but when Faith is doing it, people have a problem because he's not distressed. He's not looking like he wants to cry. He's not looking like he needs help. He's actually looking like somebody that is actually the instigator when he is not the instigator. So for me, that whole situation would not have happened if Thelma had just allowed Faith to express himself. Finish. Just allow him to express himself, because at the end of the day, Thelma too is known to be very, very expressive in that house. She says whatever she wants to say, however way she wants to say it, and if everybody has an opinion, she shuts you up, she tells you go to hell, she bitches on you big time. So personally, I see it as a clear case of Thelma once again crossing the line. Yeah, she does that all the time and she gets away with it. And with Faith, she sees Faith as an easy pick. For her, well, whatever, he's a small boy, I can do whatever I want to do. Thelma cannot try that bullshit with the likes of K-Bobo. She's never tried it. Never. So her taking that jab at a time or throwing that jab at Faith, that was completely unnecessary. But was I surprised? No, because that is typical Thelma. Faith, on the other hand, well, he needs to understand that, dude, you are no saint in that house. You're no saint at all. I mean, you have your right to express yourself. You have your right to express your feelings, how disappointed you are, or maybe you feel betrayed. But, dude, you also betrayed people by nominating people. So you're no saint. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is what I have to say about this matter. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. So please go ahead and share. I'll see you guys on my next video. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing day. Bye.